Hello, viewers. We're back at it again with another episode of Just My Thoughts. I'm your host, Erick Coughlin. Welcome to the show. Well, tonight's thought tracker is going to be based on a generational theme. What? I said tonight's episode is going to be based on a generational theme. The generational theme is Netflix and chill, right? So in the modern day age, all these guys, this started happening. Netflix got really popular maybe around 10, 12, 15 years ago, right? And it's well known and well stated to Netflix and chill. So in my generation, growing up when I was a teen, what we did, we all just loaded up and went to the cinema. We all wanted to go to the movie theater, you know. And if you're lucky, you get to go to like advanced theaters like IMAX. That was cool. And then like in the 60s and 50s, 60s, 70s, whatever, like the cool thing was going to the drive-in, right? Like all our parents, that's probably what they did. They probably all loaded up in the cars and did their thing at the drive-in. But this generation, they stay in, right? They stay in, they play their games, they get on the internet, they do all their gaming, their what do you do that Call of Duty stuff and the Halo stuff. That's just what this generation does. They're all about being inside, and they've even found ways to do that and enjoy TV as well by Netflix and chill. So, and I'm not against that. As a matter of fact, like I am a very avid Netflix user. I watch everything off of Netflix, which is why we're talking about it on the show. So let's get started. The top 10 must see shows, in my opinion, on Netflix are number one, the coolest thing I've ever seen in my life. Call it sci-fi if you want. I don't know what you want to call it. I just call it badass, is what I call it. How about Stranger Things? Stranger Things is the number one show on Netflix, in my opinion. Number two show is going to catch you off guard. Some of you may know about it, some of you may not. And if you don't, you need to know about it. Sandman. Sandman's a pretty awesome show. It's a guy that battles the devil. That's all I'm going to tell you. If you want to know more, you got to watch the show. Pretty amazing. You can call it horror, you can call it sci-fi, whatever. So pretty much the top five things that I'm going to give you are all sci-fi generated. I'm just a sci-fi nerd. I always have been. That was always my favorite thing growing up to watch. Not really big on horror, but I'm cool with it if it's generated through sci-fi. I'm like, all right, that'll work. It works. And I don't really, I just like I said, I've been like that all my life. I don't know what generated it. I guess, truth be told, the only reason why I'm into it would be because of the Army of Darkness. That pretty much opened it up the door for me because I was like, I remember being maybe 10, 11, 12, first time I watched Army of Darkness, and then like repeatedly all my life will watch Army of Darkness. Just absolutely love it, and I guess that's what opened up the door for me. Anyway, so number two was Sandman. Number three, this one is a little bit older. It's aged, so you may not know about it. And if you don't, you need to. How about Into the Badlands? Into the Badlands would be my number three show on Netflix. Listen, if you like motorcycles, if you like sword fighting, if you like princess and princesses, Into the Badlands is definitely for you. It's definitely for me too. To sum up pretty much what's going on is like I said, princesses. You got like six gangs running around, all trying to be number one, and so you know what that means. That means they pretty much all gather up and start war. It's pretty much all revolved around a lot of war between six different colonies. It's a pretty awesome show. Number four, number four show would be, man, The Imperfects would be my number four show, is my number four show. If you don't know what The Imperfects are, it's kind of like Netflix's version of X-Men. And then like if you turned, let's see, like Resident Evil mixed in with X-Men, kind of be what you would get out of The Imperfects. It's a pretty awesome show. It's based off of three characters. They all have superpowers. They all do different things. So that's why I said it's kind of like X-Men. But then, like I say, it's sci-fi because like the things that they can do are pretty wicked. One of them turns into a chupacabra, like a giant chupacabra too. It's more like a werewolf than it is a chupacabra. One has like a siren's like mind abilities, sound abilities, can read your minds and all this and all that. And the other one I think was just I think she was like a doctor or something. Something. Oh no 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 no! She had like a spell sense. She can make you hate her, make you love her, make you do whatever you want, whatever she wanted you to do. She can manipulate you through her pheromones. So, like I said, it's a very, very, very cool show, kind of like X Men mixed in with some Resident Evil. It's a really awesome show. Number five show would be, oh yeah, The Witcher. The Witcher actually should probably be the second coolest show, but I listed it at number five as I was just going through my list. But The Witcher has everything you want to know: demons, witches, kings, queens. You know, a guy just wielding a sword and cutting people's heads off. It's just Witcher is by far greater than the fifth show on this list, but I listed it as number five, so it is what it is. And then, um, and it has a backstory too. So like, there's like three original series with The Witcher, and then they have the Blood Origins that they're working on, part one and part two. So there's like roughly five seasons of The Witcher that you can watch. Very awesome, very cool show, The Witcher. Number six through 10 are pretty much all going to be comedy based. The first five are pretty much horror sci-fi, if that's what you want to classify it as. The last five will be pretty much comedy based. So the number one comedy, in my opinion, on Netflix is definitely Arrested Development. It has Will Arnett. It has Jason Bateman. Um, and I don't know his name, but it has the guy that played. He played in Hubie Halloween 2. Um, you know, he was the dad of that little girl. Like I said, I don't know his name, but is by far those three kill it. There's like 5 seasons, 6 seasons, so like it's not a show that you're just gonna start and you'll be like, oh yeah, I wish there was more. Trust me, there's plenty. By the time you finally get through that, you'll be like, oh wow, that was the bomb. And then 4 months will go by, and then you'll be like, oh man, I really wish they'd make more. And then you might rewatch it. It's literally that good. It's so good that you can watch all of it, wait a while, and watch it all over again. That's how funny it is. Second funniest, number seven on the list, um, is actually The Community. The Community has Community is priceless, and it has John Young, you know, the guy off of all three of the Hangovers. I think I said it. Ken Jung. I think there you go. That's his name. Um, very funny, but it gets very repetitive. I couldn't make it past 3 seasons. But for its, I mean, I think there's like 6 seasons of it. I just couldn't get past about the third season. All the jokes were pretty much repetitive, and the show got very repetitive. But like to a brand new viewer, a brand new viewer might wear it out. At least 3, 4 seasons in before you ever get sick and tired of it. Community is pretty freaking funny. Oh yeah, and it's got Danny Glover's boy in it. So if you didn't know that, Danny Glover's son is an actor, and he's also in the Community. So it's definitely worth the watch if you've never heard of it, if you've never seen it, and you want to laugh. You know, you want to kick back at night and giggle before you go to sleep. You would not hurt yourself by watching the Community. Number 8 on my list, God's Favorite Idiot. That's hilarious. I actually just discovered this show, and just this is like the newest show that I've watched. God's Favorite Idiot. It's got uh, Melissa McCartney and her husband and a few other actors that are just kind of like unknown. Which, you know, that's what Netflix is for. Netflix is for a lot, you know, a lot of famous actors, but also it gives you actors that are unknown. So that's cool that they do that. And God's Favorite Idiot's 8 on my list as the funniest things to watch. You should really check that out. Like I said, it's the newest on the. It should be like the funniest show. It should be number 6 on the list as far as the funniest show. But it's really hard to beat Arrested Development. Actually, that's kind of argument hard to win. But it's up there. It's if you like Melissa McCartney and you want to know what she's doing, like now that she's not really premiering in any movies lately, it's because she's working on a Netflix series with her husband, and it's called God's Favorite Idiot. So that's what she's been up to. Check it out. All right, number 9 on the list. Actually, not all five are comedy. Number 9 on the list, Cobra Kai made the list. It's because Cobra Kai is generational, right? You could be 30 and love it. You could be 15 and love it. You could be 50 and love it. It's a generational TV show based for family. Um, and all the Karate Kid gurus, like I was a Karate Kid guru. I'm sure there's a million of us that are Karate Kid gurus growing up. That show just lets us relive, you know, our childhood kind of through the show. So and then it brings so much more of not just, you know, watching Daniel's son get into a fight one more time with Johnny. Not does it just bring that, but it brings like their kids into it too. So like I said, it's a very generational show. It's good for everyone. It's a good family show, Cobra Kai. And then number 10 is actually another horror sci-fi. See that I wore out Netflix. I started around, you know, September And then I didn't let up till around Christmas, and I just watched everything that was horror, and I found anything that was sci-fi related, and I just wore them out. Midnight Mass is number 10 on the list. It's not even a comedy. I don't know how it made it onto my comedy list, but it did. It's kind of weird. But Midnight Mass is really, really wicked show. For all those who are into sci-fi and into horror and into vampires, you need to check out Midnight Mass. You'll absolutely love it. And it's crazy because a lot of it is real, is biblical. They put a lot of church into that show. That's why it's called Midnight Mass. For all you Roman Catholics out there or Catholics in general, you guys know what I'm talking about. That's a legitimate thing. They really have Midnight Mass. But Netflix had turned it into a horror sci-fi. It's really, really, really gory, awesome, crazy show that I fell in love with around October. Like I said, I'm really big into Halloween. My grandmother was really big into horror and Halloween. She made it her life goal to always freak us out. So it kind of rubbed off on me. I'm not the kind of guy that's just sit around and watch horror all the time. But in a 3 month span from September to November, yeah, that's all I'll watch. I got a good solid 90 days if I'm just gonna knock down anything that's supposed to be scary. It's just what I do, man. It's what I've always done. Credit to my grandmother; she made me this way. So, that being said, I just gave you my top 10 best shows on Netflix. Like I said, the best stuff that you will never get tired of watching until you hate that it ran out. And in case you weren't listening and you want a quick recap of that, I would do all that. Once again, don't even pay attention to the order, just pay attention to what I'm telling you. You feel me? All right, so Imperfects, Midnight Mass, God's Favorite Idiot, Arrested Development, The Witcher, Stranger Things, Cobra Kai. Uh, oh yeah. Sandman, Arrested Development, and The Community. There you go. And then if you're like me and if you pretty much seen everything that you feel like Netflix has to offer, and you're just kind of tired of being around Netflix in general, like oh, I'm just so sick of all these Netflix shows. I want something different. I want something I ain't seen. I want something I've never heard of. There's a really high opportunity for that. This is something that I've been doing for about the last 2 or 3 months. Because I am sick of Netflix. I've worn Netflix out. Everything Netflix has to offer me, I've already seen, and everything that they're offering me new, I'm not interested in. I'm interested in the shows that I love, and I'm just ready for new seasons. Like Stranger Things. I'm waiting on Stranger Things. I'm waiting on Cobra Kai. I'm also waiting on another Midnight Mass. I heard they're going to make another one, which it's probably going to be released in October anyway. They try to keep horror within that realm. So I got a while. Oh, and Sandman, they're making a season 2 of Sandman as well. So I mean, I've got a lot of things that I'm waiting on. So since I'm waiting, what I do is I find all my movie flicks, absolutely not TV shows. I'm talking about movie flicks. I find all my movie flicks on Freevee, which is the promotion from Amazon Prime Video. So if you have Amazon Prime Video, of course you can pretty much rent and order anything that you want to watch. So that's pretty awesome that Amazon lets you do that. I love that they let us do that. And then you can find Amazon shows. They do make Amazon shows. I'm not saying that they don't. I'm not discrediting them. And actually, they even have their own little Paramount production now. So they make movies, really good movies. As a matter of fact, probably one of the best Sylvester Stallone movies I've ever seen in my life. I'm not kidding you. I know he's made millions, but one of the best he's ever made is The Samaritan, and The Samaritan was produced through Amazon. And that being said, he's also done The Tulsa King. That's one of their shows that I said. I told you they do shows. Tulsa King is one of them, also by Sylvester Stallone, which was absolutely phenomenal show. I loved it. I hope that they continue to make seasons of Tulsa King. And I think it would be awesome. I'd be down if he decided he was going to do a Samaritan too. I'd be down for it. Like I said, legitimate, one of his best movies he's ever made is Samaritan. But anyways, back to Freebie. So you can find stuff that you probably never even heard of, or you just forgot that it was ever made. And I went through that. So through Freebie, I found a Mel Gibson movie that was called Get the Gringo. I watched this maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, maybe a month ago. I watched Get the Gringo, and I enjoyed every bit of it from pretty much the opening scene all the way to the end of the movie. I thought it was phenomenal. Which he produced it, and he does that. He produces a lot of movies, and then he stars in the ones that he produces as well. He's just a show off like that. Mel Gibson's been in the movie business since probably the 70s. He's just an icon. If you guys don't think that Mel Gibson is an icon, I want to tell you to go watch The Patriot and then tell me that that man's not awesome, because I felt like that's who he was. Like, he has that ability as a movie actor to really be the character, and he's phenomenal at it. So Get the Gringo, Mel Gibson. And then I found another one. That I absolutely enjoyed. I loved, and I liked the actor in general. When I was younger, I would watch anything that he played in. And I'm talking about Cuba Gooding Jr. So I found a movie called Dirty with Cuba Gooding Jr. Fell in love with it. Thought it was a great movie. Didn't really like, how the movie portrayed Cuba Gooding Jr. being a dirty cop, but I mean, he is what he is in that movie. That's why the movie is called Dirty, because he's a dirty cop. But all in all, it's a phenomenal movie. You should check that out. You haven't heard of it, you get on Freevee. If you don't have it, just get Amazon Prime. Freevee comes free. That's why it's called Freevee. And you need to be checking that out. Dirty is amazing. And then I'll tell you another one I found on there that was probably popular, and it just was probably in a time that I wasn't doing so good, or I wasn't even paying attention to movies being made, because I used to work a lot. Almost like I was married to my company. It was pretty bad at one point in time. But anyway, the movie was called Kill Chain by Nicolas Cage, and I found this on Freevee. Never heard of it in my life, and absolutely fell in love with it. It was about an hour and 45 minutes, so it's not even a very long one. The story was pretty simple. He had a list of dudes that he wanted to off, and he offed all of them. So that's kind of like he did the same thing years ago. Nicolas Cage was in that movie Bangkok Dangerous, so it's almost just like that, but a lot better, choreographed differently. It was a different story, it was a different place and time. But all in all, he just did a phenomenal job. It was one of those mind twisting movies. At the end of it, I was shocked. I was like, get the fuck out of here. I can't believe that that's how this movie ends. And that's just what I love about movies in general. I like to be wild. I like to be, confused. I like to be trying to figure stuff out that I just can't figure it out. I love stuff like that. Movies like, 88 Minutes, movies like Cry Wolf, movies like anything that has suspicion to do with murder. I'm all about that, right? So that's what I look for when I look for movies. And like I said, I found all these stuff on Freevee. I found Dirty on Freevee. I found Get the Gringo on Freevee. I found Kill Chain on Freevee. So if you're sick of Netflix, if you wore out Netflix, if Netflix has absolutely nothing to offer you, that doesn't mean you can't find something good to watch. Just check out Amazon Prime. Just check out Freevee. And you'd be widely surprised at the things you find out there. So that wraps up everything for me tonight. If you enjoyed what you heard, you liked what you seen, always feel free, hashtag me, hashtag Coughlin Pride. Have a good night.